26.5 miles.
Stalked by a mountain lion, dude.
There's a bear right there.
What's up, dudes? I'm Will Rockmore, trail name Lastrap. One of the strangest things about the Pacific Crest Trail is that every few hundred miles, it becomes an entirely different trail. I didn't realize it then, but over the next 4 days, I'd leave the High Sierra behind, accidentally hike my first 30-mile day, and experience one of the biggest culture shocks of the entire trip. Do me a favor and hit that like button so we can beat the algorithm, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get it.
Finally back on trail after 2 Neros and a 0 and Strawberry and Pinecrest. Back out here, picked up heavyweight.
Hello.
Try to get to Tahoe by the 10th. We got this.
As we left the High Sierra behind and started making our way toward Tahoe, I noticed that strangeness I mentioned. Almost overnight, the trail felt like I was somewhere else altogether. And it wasn't just the trail, the entire landscape had changed. The towering granite peaks that had defined the Sierra gave way to a world shaped by ancient volcanoes. Even the ground beneath my feet felt different, softer, with climbs that seemed just a little more forgiving. It was hard to believe I was still on the PCT. It felt like I'd walked into an entirely different world. And I'm not convinced the landscape is the only thing changing out here.
Got a fairly early start. Gonna try and do 23 miles today to make it to Tahoe on the 10th. 3.5 days. The terrain's a lot easier here. Not as rocky, ground soft, a lot of up and down, but handleable. Excited to get to Tahoe, got a bunch of resupply there. This little part reminds me so much of a section of the Four Pass Loop. I remember so clearly walking up this super steep spot. I even got it on video. Having the view on the left. Look at the lake back there. Beautiful. So crazy. Well, she windy as fuck up here. But she sure is pretty. Looks like we got a lake down here. Hello! I just gotta take a second to recognize how sick these trees are and this view.
It's not just the geology that changes when dropping out of the High Sierra, it's the history. Long before the Pacific Crest Trail was even a concept, these ridges were the ultimate challenge for early American pioneers. In the 1840s and 50s, immigrants bound for the California Gold Rush dragged covered wagons over these high, wind-scoured passes. If you look closely at some of the exposed pass walls, you can still find scrape marks left behind by iron-rimmed wagon wheels and heavy chains, as families risked everything to cross the Sierra before the winter snows trapped them. Being out here for months on end makes me wonder how the pioneers changed themselves after their insane journeys. It's a stretch of trail that once again is forcing me to think about the people who walked it before me. And I know the deep wilderness silence won't last forever. Because right over the next few ridges, the trail drops straight down into the glittering, high-energy vortex of the Lake Tahoe basin. I've been to Tahoe before, so I know things are about to get wild as fuck.
Windy ass day last night, but this beautiful view of this lake below us. But we're heading out now, gonna try and do 27 miles today. We'll see how we do, but we're ready. So looks like he's packed up and getting out of here. There's where we stayed, on the other side now. What's up, dude? Sit.
Tomorrow.
What's that? Tahoe tomorrow, that's
Tahoe
right.
tomorrow.
Woo! Oh, listen to that. Woo!
There you go. That was a good one.
Another thing that surprised me about the PCT is how quickly it can reinvent itself. Just when you think you've figured it out, the landscape changes, the rhythm changes, and suddenly you're learning how to hike it all over again. The High Sierra taught me patience. Every mile demanded respect, and rushing simply wasn't an option. But up here, the trail was inviting me to move differently. The climbs were gentler, the footing was softer, and for the first time in weeks, I found myself covering ground without feeling completely spent. It felt like the trail was quietly preparing me for whatever came next. And on that note, let me tell you the story about how my first 30-mile day was accidental. We started out wanting to hike 27 miles, which is already a huge day and pushing our bodies to the limit. The day was absolutely gorgeous, the weather was perfect, and we were blessed with outstanding views amidst some pretty significant elevation change. Mind you, it was nothing like the Sierra, but no walk in the park nonetheless.
Goddamn, dude.
Heavyweight and I were both highly motivated to make it to our first real town since pretty much Mammoth Lakes. And we also wanted to do a 30-mile day at some point, just not this day. Heavyweight was having trouble with his waist strap cutting his skin, so he opted not to wear it at all and just use his shoulders. I felt good, but I definitely wanted my first 30-mile day to be planned.
We still climbing.
At 27 miles, every single spot that was even remotely flat was occupied.
26.5 miles is what my watch says, which is a PR for me, especially when we finally make it wherever we're going. Sure is pretty though.
We had to keep pressing, so we did until we finally found somewhere flat enough.
I was hoping to get a little bit of this sunset before it gets too dark. I'm almost to the campsite. I'm very ready to be done for the day. I'm at 27.68 miles, a new record for me. Look at that.
The problem was, when we finally found a flat spot, it was covered in mouse shit and somebody had spilled hot chocolate powder all over the ground. Wait until you see why even after 30 miles, we still couldn't sleep.
We're all sketched out because we hiked 30 miles today and just hung our food. We got in bed and there's like a cat of some kind right outside our tents. We both heard it meow several times. There's obviously a frog also. I'm not sure if you can hear Heavyweight, but he's got his pillow propped up so he can see under the vestibule to see if there's a mountain lion or a bobcat or what, something out there. But we both heard it, and it definitely sounded just like a house cat, like meow. Don't hear it anymore, thankfully, but doesn't mean it's not there. Doesn't help that there's like hot chocolate spilled all over the ground, like 2 feet away from my tent. And we know what cats like. They like milk. Heavyweight's on watch. Like, really though, what would we do if, like, all of a sudden a cat showed up? I saw a video where a dude was getting chased down by, like backed down by one, and what finally got it to fuck off was he threw a handful of rocks at it.
Yeah, that's what Bear Pop was doing too. She was throwing rocks at it.
At a mountain lion?
Yeah, bro. She didn't tell you that?
No.
She got stalked by a mountain lion, dude.
No, she didn't tell me that.
Oh, dude, yeah, bro. She was night hiking, and this thing came out and squared up on her, bro.
On the PCT?
It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, she didn't tell me that.
Yeah, dude. It was like, so she was night hiking, and she, like, her headlamp like caught the glare of a pair of eyes in a bush, right? And like she didn't think anything of it at first because it was just like whatever, like it's a pair of eyes, and it fucking came out of the bush, and she started like making noise or whatever, like sat there like just staring her down, like kind of like crouched down, and so like she started like throwing rocks like in its general direction. It was like kind of far away, so I guess like she couldn't hit it, you know, and then like
Oh my God.
and then like she said it started like coming towards her, like creeping down the rock, you know, like she was like, this thing was like not afraid of me at all, you know.
Right.
Was like, it was like all like crouched down, like it was like ready to pounce, you know, and it was like creeping down like towards the end of the rock, like towards her. And then like she said she started waving her trekking poles in the air, and like I guess it like made her look bigger, and that's like what got it to fuck off.
We never did see the mysterious cat, but I definitely had a weird dream that I was obsessed with popping sleeping pads, shitting in a sandbox, and fucking up my grandma's couch. Not sure what that was about. Anyway, I'm very proud of myself for hiking 30 miles in one day. I thought people were just being dramatic when they told me that 20 to 30 mile days becomes common after a while of being on the PCT. I did notice that after all this time out here that I just stopped fearing wildlife altogether. After long days of hiking, I'd be so exhausted that even without earplugs, the noises around camp couldn't keep me awake. Not even heavyweight snoring. Maybe that's just because I couldn't hear anything over my own. Anyway, it made me realize the trail wasn't just changing the landscape around me, it was changing me too. Things that would have kept me up at night just a couple months earlier barely crossed my mind anymore. Somewhere along the way, the constant uncertainty had become normal, and the wilderness had started to feel a lot more like home than something to be afraid of.
After our first 30, we're up and at 'em. Gonna make it to Tahoe today. Only got about 12 miles to go. I'm falling off the cliff.
Heavyweight and I got lucky and scored a hitch from a trail angel who was wrapping up trail magic at a trailhead. Lake Tahoe was the most insane vortex I have ever experienced. I triple zeroed in this town. I don't know what's going on, but I went from not wanting to be around people at all to getting convinced near instantly by Heavyweight to go out drinking every single night. We rode scooters, danced in conga lines, chased bears, had all-you-can-eat sushi twice, made friends with raccoons, and laughed hard.
There's a fucking bear right there.
While I was very disappointed in myself for temporarily losing sight of my goal after having just double zeroed in Strawberry, I had a good time and made good memories. But there's still a long way to go, so it's definitely time to shape up. We got miles to make. So as always, feel free to chat with me in the comments and turn notifications to all if you haven't already, as it helps in the algorithm, and I'll see you on the next side quest.
Stealth bear bag hanging 101.
Just don't think about it and do it.
Look at that. Wait a second.
It's a side quest. I have a GoPro, but I don't know how to use it.